Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I have a special guest with me tonight who popped up on the screen small for some reason, so let's fix that. Hey,
There
Shane,
he
how
is.
are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We spoke about 7 months ago,
We did.
and you had a story. Boy, did you have a story to tell. I'm going to link that interview in the not the chat, the description below. Most of my audience watches after the fact. They're not here right now. So
There you
I'm
go.
going to link that, but we're going to go over just a little bit about you
Mhm.
first. So first, tell us about yourself and about your channel. You are North Georgia Audit, first of all.
I am.
Like,
I
you
am.
don't have a real name. That's just your name.
My name's Shane Keyros. We all know that by now. As far as the channel goes, it kind of started, you know, post my arrest and incarceration and trial,
Mhm.
um, and I kind of attribute it to taking back some control, maybe. And
Yeah.
in my own mind, that's the way I kind of rationalize it. Um, I don't necessarily. I mean, people can call me an auditor, and that doesn't hurt me. You can say I'm not an auditor, that doesn't hurt me. I don't necessarily go out looking for audits these days. I kind of wait for them. I've gone to the prison, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I'm just here. And if something happens and I'm able to catch it, then great. If
Everybody's
I'm
got a
not, then
camera in their pocket these days, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. Everybody can record an interaction. So
absolutely. And I know the last time you were on, I used the term frauditor, and I do still believe there are frauditors out there, but you are
I do.
definitely not one of them, in my
Yeah.
opinion. There's
Well, I mean, there's a lot of content creators, and not even just auditors. Just you got
Mhm.
people on the anti-auditor side, people on the auditor side, people that make all kinds of different content,
Mhm.
and that's a lot of times how they bring in their revenue. That's how they make a living. Me, you can't call me a frauditor because I'm not doing this for monetary gain for one.
You're not, are you
I mean, other
doing
people
the
might call it a frauditor for a different reason. I'm not monetized. I'll
yeah.
never post my Cash App. I'll never ask anybody to donate to a GoFundMe. I've been paying my own legal fees for
Mhm.
the prison arrest.
Oh, we did.
And I don't put anybody down. I won't put anybody down for
Yeah.
posting a GoFundMe to help with legal fees or
Yeah.
whatever. It's just not my cup of tea. I would rather that be one thing that nobody can say about me is he's in this for the money.
Yeah.
So
I personally would recommend monetizing because then if people want to give you money, they can. But
sure.
I forgot about that whole prison thing. We might dabble in that a little bit this evening too. But let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
First of all, his link is in the description below. Go subscribe to him if nothing else to show support. And while you're here, if you're new here, if I've earned your like, hit the like button. If you're entertained, am I not entertaining? Hit the subscribe button. Why not? I live stream at least once a week, sometimes multiple times, but you can count on me every Sunday at 4:30 Eastern to cover something about crime. And today we have a criminal with. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding.
I mean, I
Um,
have a open charge right now. So,
oh yeah, that is true. That is true. So the reason we came across each other is because I was on a panel and you were in the live chat and had said something about being in prison waiting for trial for 2.5 years. I think it was
yeah,
two
2 years
two
and two
years and
months.
2 months.
I
Yeah.
always equated it to 2.5 years, but I used to say like people would say, "Oh, you were in jail for 2 years." And I said, "Don't short me my 2 months." But
Yeah.
then at the same time, I can't add the 4 months. So it was 2 years and 2 months total.
2 years and 2 months waiting for a trial for a crime that you did not commit. And
Yes.
I want to be very clear about this. I'm going to look right at the camera. I don't usually look right at the camera, but when Shane and I first spoke 7 months ago, I pulled his court documents. He sent me his court documents. I read every single page of them. Not only is he not guilty, deemed by the court, but he is actually innocent. There's a difference between not guilty and innocent. Shane is innocent. I've read the papers. He didn't do it. There was evidence withheld by the prosecution until trial that proved his innocence. You should not have to prove innocence in the United States. You should not have to, but you did. You did prove your innocence, in my opinion. Uh,
And another thing that my lawyer tried to talk me out of was taking the stand, but that was
mhm.
important to me. I did take the stand, and I I'd sat for 26 months
Mhm.
with just one side of the story, which there was no story. That was the thing that people didn't understand. There
Yeah.
was no story. It was a fabrication. And I
Mhm.
sat in jail for 26 months with this fabrication being the only thing that's out there about it. And finally, the vindication to take the stand and to look right at the DA and tell him things that I've been waiting to say for 2 years
Yeah.
was very vindicating. And I look back on that time with a lot of fondness on that moment that I took the stand and was able to tell my story.
And a lot of people who are guilty, I mean, people choose to take the stand and not for many different reasons, but I've seen so many people who just plead their innocence and do. I think it's more likely. I haven't done the numbers on this, guys. I might be I'm just thinking about all the cases that I've watched where the person actually took the stand in their own defense, and most of the time that they're innocent. They want to yell to the rooftops of their innocence, and that's what you did.
The
Um,
reason my lawyer, real quick, the reason my lawyer didn't want me to take the stand was because nothing about my drug history, which was way before these accusations.
mhm,
I'm sorry about that. Nothing about my drug history, which was way before these accusations. I've been clean for a long time before these accusations.
yeah.
None of that was able to come into play unless I took the stand.
Oh,
Then
gotcha.
they could call into my character, they could call into my past. But I brought all of that out. I told my lawyer exactly what I told him was, "Have you ever seen 8 Mile?" And he hadn't, but I had to explain it to him when Eminem
Mhm.
got on stand at the end of the last battle rap. He went
Oh,
ahead and
yeah,
laid everything out there. He said everything that the other guy was
yeah.
going to say about him. I said, let's do that first.
Yep.
Let's put all of my BS out there for
Mhm.
everybody to hear and explain my life, and then let them decide however they decide. And
By the way, that's the best scene in the whole movie, and if you have not seen it, just go on YouTube, you can watch just that last rap battle
yes,
scene. Um, yeah, I forget the guy's name, but he went to private school and, like, the whole the whole thing. Um, what I lost my train of thought. Oh, so, without going into the details, Shane was accused of forcibly raping and assaulting, like, physically, like, hitting this person, a 12-year-old, or was it 12 or 9? 12?
she was 12 when it was supposed to take
12.
place. Yeah, she was 13 when she made the outcry, and
Yeah.
16 when we went to trial. Yeah.
So a 12-year-old girl who he had taken in, or your family did, it wasn't just you and this girl or whatever, but
Yeah.
her parents were kind of not good people. I don't wanna I don't wanna talk bad about them, but they were also, or not also, but they were on drugs and, didn't have their stuff together. They didn't have their stuff together, they were on drugs, and out of the goodness of your heart, you were helping raise this girl in your home. Well,
To an
y
extent, I wouldn't
yeah,
say we raised her, but we did provide care for her. Like
you
we were the
provided a
ones that
roof.
provided food, the roof over her head, things like that. Her
Mhm.
mother was basically just non-existent as a parent while they lived
Yeah.
with us for 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, after, this girl had mental issues and was in a mental health facility, and in my opinion, after reading all the documents, and I always wanna let you know when I'm about to say something that's not necessarily facts proven in court, but in my opinion, these mental health people convinced her that she was assaulted, and it was and kept on her and kept on her and kept on her, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh yeah, well, Shane raped me," and then made up this whole story about getting hit in the back of the head, being forcibly raped, in a house with 4 other people, I believe it was. 4 or 5
Uh,
other adults in the
four
house.
other adults and my daughter. Yes.
In a small house. It was a
Hmm.
small house, and, it just doesn't make any sense. First of all, it wasn't like a giant house to where there's thick wall. It wasn't like an expensive house where there's soundproofing or anything. So,
Yeah.
a small house, thin walls, nobody heard a
Three
thing.
three of the
Nobody like
people were supposed to be within 15 feet. Three of the people were
Mhm.
supposed to be. One of them was on the other side of the wall where it's supposed to have happened. Her mom and her mom's boyfriend were basically just kind of across the hall.
Yeah.
That's she put everybody within 20 feet and three of them within 15 feet of it taking place, and said that my daughter's mom was awake, like in the living room,
Yeah.
like we had just come in from outside smoking, is what she said in her statement. And then I
So
followed her to the room and hit her in the back of the head, and
So
yeah.
when I got to this part of the court papers, like the stack of court papers that I read on this case, I was thinking, this seems a little fishy. It seems like something might be off here, especially with the mental health care workers having to pull it out of her, drag it out of her over the course of days.
Yeah.
Not only that, the medical exam that happened proved your innocence because this young woman had never had sex before, and that's something that you can tell in young women. So obviously that proves your innocence, and the jury thought so too. The
Yeah.
system thought so too.
Yeah.
But that's great, and celebrations for that. But you sat in jail for 2 years and 2 months, waiting for all this to come out when the prosecution had this information from the get-go. They knew this. The exam had been done 2.5 years earlier.
They knew
So
that before they ever talked to me, much less I sat in jail. So, you know,
absolutely.
and I don't know if I said this the last time that we talked, but
Mhm.
after I was acquitted, maybe a couple of months after, like I had the names of all my jurors because we picked the jury, we had all their actual
Yeah.
names. Um, I looked them up on Facebook and I
Yeah.
sent 4 or 5 of them messages, just basically
Say
what I
thank
wanted to
you.
convey to you. Well, not really. It wasn't a thank you as much as it was I wanted to let them know they made the right decision.
Yeah.
Like even if they didn't, like even if they didn't want to hear from me,
Yeah.
and 3 of them responded, but I put in the first message. Listen, you may not want to hear from me. I don't know how you feel about the whole situation.
Mhm.
Basically, thank you for how you made it, the decision you made. But I also want to let you know that you didn't make the wrong decision. You didn't
Yeah.
let a bad guy go free. Like you definitely set somebody. And I spoke to the jury foreman on the phone,
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
actually, and we had 2 women that were on the jury. Um, one of them had been abused as a child. The other one had
Yeah.
had a child that had been abused. And my lawyer wanted to strike them,
Mhm.
and I didn't. And because
Yeah.
the reason I didn't is because I wanted them to be able to look at her story and match theirs to hers. And I
Yeah.
knew that we had a DVD. This is the only piece of evidence I don't have left. It just got lost somewhere over the years.
Mhm.
But it was a DVD of the forensic interview, and I had
Mhm.
never seen it before
Yeah.
trial. But I've been told by multiple lawyers that I'd had that
Mhm.
the DVD didn't make her look good. Like it wasn't convincing. Her
Yeah.
telling her the story, and I wanted them on there to be able to see that, and
The
it
different
worked out in my
yeah.
favor.
It did. Thank goodness for that. Thank God for
Yeah.
that. But all of this being said to let the people know why you might have a little ill will towards the system and authority in your town, right? Uh,
Yeah, a little bit. Man, sometimes it comes out as misdirected. Sometimes
mhm,
it's not harnessed the way it should be. Yeah, many times I've thought after the Emerson incident, which is what kind of
mhm.
sparked, my little internet channel.
Yeah.
Um, I promised myself I would always be calm next time I would interact. I would try to take, some of these other auditors and mimic their way, their style, and just kill them with kindness. But
You did great
my,
for almost a year, by the way.
well, I didn't. I didn't go out looking for content. I mean, I went out with another auditor and done some stuff with him, but I never
Mhm.
posted the stuff. He posted some of the stuff, but
Is that
um,
Georgia Transparency?
yes, I went
Yeah.
out with Georgia Transparency and who's a great guy, by the way. I know a lot of your audience might not like him.
Well,
But
I don't
GT is a great guy, and some people may not agree with certain auditors' tactics. Some people may not
yeah.
agree with where they go or what they do.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like live and let live as long as you're not
Mhm.
hurting people. Like if,
Yeah.
if you want to go about it this way, and Georgia Transparency, I think is very respectful the way he goes about it. He definitely doesn't cuss people like I do, even cops.
Yeah.
I this most recent incident that we're going to talk about, I definitely flew off the handle,
A
but
little bit.
yeah, a
Just
little bit,
a little bit.
a
Yeah, I haven't
smidge.
watched Georgia Transparency's stuff, and I just want everyone to know, and my audience, I see some of your audience here, so I want to let them know. My audience
Hi
knows
guys.
me. But I'm on my own side. I'm not on there's no sides in my head. I'm on God's side, my family side, my community side. That's it. Like I
That's
judge each case separately. I'm not
sure.
going to just um, pick a side because that's my team. I don't have a team. So I think that's why you and I can get along so well, even though,
Well, even if we don't agree on something, we talk about it. You know
It's
what I mean?
yeah.
Instead of just battering each other with horribly malicious words, we just sit down and talk about it.
Wouldn't life be boring if everyone thought the exact same thing as you at the same time? Wouldn't that just be boring? I would rather have friends and acquaintances that I can have disagreements with and
Sure.
talk it out and have something to talk about, right?
Right.
Um, so before we get into it, I want to let everyone know as well that if you donate at all, like you said, you're not asking for donations. I'm asking for donations. I'm not above that, but
Yours is for a great cause, though.
I put a lot of work into my channel. So if you donate a super chat or a Rumble rant, we're on several platforms streaming, multi-streaming right now. But Xena, pay attention. Xena gets a dog a treat on air. There she is. That's my co-host, Xena. She has the milk bones right here. So if you donate while we're on air, she gets a milk bone, and your name goes into the drawing. And once a month, we draw a name, and you get something from the merch shop, which I will pull up on the screen right now, and we'll tell you about the good cause. So let's do that. Let's get the merch shop up. I need to always plug the merch shop. So right now, at least until the end of the month, and we'll extend it longer if this is going well. But there's several stores in my shop. Of course, you can get my merchandise here. Stephen Ignoramus hosts. I host a shop for him as well. But this one that says King right here, every single penny of anything that's bought in this collection goes towards onemorechild.org, and they 100% of the profits. That's I'm not taking anything out for us. This is a collaboration between Frank from the Let's Be Frank channel, Stephen Ignoramus from the Call Me Ignorant channel, and myself, and we designed and created these shirts and coffee mugs for this organization specifically. And what they do is they provide Christ-centered services to vulnerable children and struggling families. This includes trafficked children. This includes families who are down on their luck and need to eat or be housed. It's a great organization. I support them fully, and I hope you will too. And if you don't want one of these t-shirts, I mean, they're pretty awesome t-shirts. I may have designed them, but I think they're awesome. So if you don't want one of these t-shirts or mugs, go to them and donate directly, please. We have a couple that just came in, so we'll do a little dog treats, and then we'll get back into it. But I appreciate the support, and of course, if you buy anything else in the merch shop of my merchandise, I appreciate that too. And it's pretty good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I have some great stuff in here. You can get all of the normal stuff, the mugs. I have a notebook here that says "Not my How to Get Away with Crimes" notebook, so you can jot all your notes down while you're watching the true crime and figure out how to get away with crimes. Anyway, so thank you very much to Quest Fanning over here on YouTube, as well as Quest Fanning 2 times for Quest Fanning, and Erica on did a Rumble rant. So I appreciate that. I gotta stop saying so much. I thought I had gotten over that, but apparently I didn't. So here's Xena. I gotta take this chat away so you can see her. Thank you very much, Erica and Quest. And let's see what she does here. Do a little shake. Oh, that's a good girl. Do a high five. That's a good girl. Thank you all very much. And we're not going to stop every time somebody donates today. What we will do is at the end of the show, if donations come in, we will go through them at the end of the show, and I will read your chats. So that's from Quest Fanning, and then another one from Quest Fanning. Unfortunately, Erica, I cannot pull yours up right now because it's on Rumble and not on YouTube. So last year, oops, I pressed the wrong button. Of course I did. That's what I do. Why is it doing that? Go off the screen. Okay, there we go. Last year you had you were driving in your town that you live in, and you flipped off a cop for no reason
Yes.
other than to flip him off, as far as I can tell. When we talked about it, you promised you weren't going to flip off any more cops, and you haven't, as far as I know.
Maybe twice in the last year, in
Oh,
7 months, maybe twice. I promised,
okay.
but I almost held that promise to fruition. But
I forgive
it,
you. It's
it
fine.
was
I
most.
get
It was
it.
actually recent. It was actually recently when I did too, after this incident. Kind of shortly after,
Yeah.
within a day or two after this incident, before it kind of went the direction it should go. So
It makes sense. It makes sense. But like I said at the beginning, you have reason to be upset with the police. I get it. I get it. And a lot of people who do these auditing channels do have reasons to be upset with the police. Some of them, not so much. Some of them, they're just criminals and they're mad they got caught. But in your case, that's not what's going on here at all. And I wouldn't categorize everyone in that category either. So you flipped off Emerson. Emerson's the name of the police officer, which I thought was funny because for the longest time I thought Emerson is where you were in Georgia. That's not. There's a
no,
place in Georgia called Emerson. That's not what happened. And that guy he resigned. He didn't get fired. I
he was
thought he got
forced
fired.
to. He was forced to resign. It was either get fired, or get resigned, or get fired or resign. And I
Mhm.
just recently found out that actually the chief of police has blackballed him from working in any departments in the area. He's tried to
Which
go
is
to the next county over, the county on the other side, a city up north.
great
He's
news for me, by the way, because fun fact, I also live in North Georgia. So I'm glad
uh,
this guy isn't like, patrolling my neighborhood.
and I don't
Uh,
think it's so much for the rights violation and what happened with me as much as it
mm,
was with they all went through retraining, and I have the all the paperwork from where they went through retraining and
mhm.
his email to the department explaining his side of the story. I think he just didn't like what they had to say, and he rubbed some people the wrong way after the incident.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's been blackballed for the most part.
Well, and that's good because we don't want bad cops on the force.
Yeah.
And what we need is good cops to speak up, which a lot of times they do, sometimes they don't. I know, especially when they have a system of I grew up in Chicago, and I don't know if you know about anything about Chicago police, but there's like a culture in cities like that in Chicago and New York of cops looking the other way because they're the brothers in blue. But what happens is then when these cops get caught, it makes all of you guys look bad. So we need the police to also patrol the police, make sure that they're not making everybody look bad. So Emerson.
I think it's the same way with auditors too. Like,
Mhm.
the anti-auditor community sees one bad auditor
Yeah.
and they decide every one of them are horrible. And
Yeah.
people might not like my tactics, but I'm actually a very respectful person when it comes to
Absolutely.
anybody outside of law enforcement. And I'm not disrespectful to law enforcement for the most part. The way I see it is, if you can't handle me giving you the finger and you can't handle me, saying some naughty words to you, then how are you going to handle a guy that's mentally unstable going through a crisis?
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of things out there you're going to have to handle that are worse than a finger or naughty words. And maybe it's my way to test them, and maybe that's not my place.
Yeah.
But at this moment, I felt like it has been my place to, when I have a chance. I don't go out, like I said, I haven't been, bothering Commerce Police Department. I see them all the time. I
Mhm.
live downtown. I can
Yeah.
walk out my front door and I'm on the main drag,
Yeah.
and I see them all the time. I haven't harassed them. This is just kind of, it came up.
Well, and honestly, I think I would rather have somebody like I don't mind auditors. I really don't. What I mind is people who go out and create the news story for themselves, go into libraries. And I saw one the other day. I was on Fraud or Folly's Saturday show with him, and he showed a video where these two were in a library just basically harassing people. And it's my right to film here. Well, people are there with their families. They just want to be left alone. And then they see one person say, "Hey, please don't film me." And then they zoom in on those people and just to get a reaction.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. That's not what you do at all. So that's why I say there's a difference.
Yeah.
Um so Emerson happened, he resigns, and then do you want to go through just the beginning? I'm going to show this video in a second, but you're sitting on a bench with your wife.
Yeah. So, like I said, for the last it's been a little over 8 or 9 months since the Emerson
Mhm.
incident. That was
Mhm.
July 4th, actually, last year.
Mm.
I haven't had any contact with any of the police department. I haven't been flipping them off. I haven't gone to any of their traffic stops. I've seen them sitting on the side of the road running traffic while I'm out for my
Yeah.
walk. And normally I wave at them and pass right by.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah. So,
also, if you see that, it doesn't hurt to film them, but from across the street instead of
yeah.
getting up in their face like kind of Chili does sometimes, where he just gets in their face and disrupts their job. But I think that it's actual journalism if you're standing across the street filming what's happening. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
that's actual journalism.
I have that Chile side of me now. Whether somebody agrees with Chile or whether I agree with Chile or
Mhm.
not is a whole different story. I
Mhm.
do have that Chile
The
what you
urge.
speak of, and that to want to get in their face, to want
Yeah.
to push the boundaries with police officers, because that's really
Mhm.
where any content that you see me post is 99% of it going to be police related. It's
Yeah.
going to be me maybe testing the boundaries or me, you know, throwing out some free speech to see what happens or a
Mhm.
finger or whatever the case may be. I haven't been flipping cops off other than the 2 times, but this situation that happened, so we walk around the downtown area, especially
Mhm.
I'm off Tuesday through Friday, and Tuesday through Friday nights in the evenings,
Mhm.
right before sundown, we like to go out. Sometimes I go by myself. Sometimes she
Yeah.
comes with me. This evening we both went. We were sitting on the park bench. I don't think we walked for long, but there's the main road that's in front of the park bench, and then right behind us is the road that we live on, and it
Mhm.
comes out to a stop sign right beside the park bench that
Yeah.
connects to the main road. And we saw the cop come down the main road in front of us, and then he made the turn onto the road behind us. And I knew he had to come right beside us to go where he was
Yeah.
going. And he had his window down. I saw it when he passed in front of us. Once he got to the stop sign, I mean, we both kind of looked at each other, and he was Emerson's backup on that call. And if you go back on my page and you listen to the body cam footage from his perspective, he actually, I didn't hear it at the time, but he threatened to take me to jail when I got out of the car after Emerson gave me the ticket, and I was flipping them all off saying, "Get the fuck out of here." I'm sorry,
Mm.
cussing on your channel. Get out of here. You're dismissed.
Sorry about
Uh,
the language, guys. I
I
can't
apologize.
control him.
I've
I
been
can't.
trying to curb it. I'm trying to curb it, especially here. Um, but
I really don't mind if people curse. I just prefer I just don't,
I
I try
understand.
not to. I
I'm
actually
trying to. I'm
I
trying to do it
dropped
for you.
I dropped an F-bomb before we went live, and Shane's like, "I've never heard you swear before."
It surprised me. But if you go back and you see that body cam footage from Og, the one that had this incident with this most recent incident,
Yeah, we're gonna watch it here in a sec. Yeah.
the body cam footage from the Emerson incident, he threatens to take me to jail for standing there telling him, because Emerson says, "Don't do anything to go to jail." And I said, "I'm not going to jail." And Og says, "You're about to," in his body cam, but I didn't hear it at that time. Then he also says, "I'm just an idiot," when he got back in his car and all this other stuff I didn't hear, and then cuts his body cam off. So that's
Mhm.
if that had never happened, I would have never called him an F stick when he pulled up to the. And he says
Mhm.
that I screamed out, "What's up, F stick?" But
Yeah,
that's not what happened. It doesn't matter if that's what I said. Even if that's what I said, this whole incident is the same as it is now. But what I
absolutely.
said was, just for the sake of the truth, uh, "Hey, honey, there goes F stick."
Yeah.
And I said it loud enough where he
And
could
you
hear
were
it, of
not talking
course.
to him, you were talking
No,
to your
talking to her
wife.
loud enough where he could hear it.
Yeah.
And he said, "That's funny coming from a child molester," and then leaves the stop sign to go down to the pawn shop, which
And
is about 150 yards.
here's where we get into the issue. He knows, he absolutely knows that you are not on a list, because they know who's on the list in their patrol area. He knows that you were acquitted. He knows that that's not the truth. So he lied. And
I
he's a
don't.
authority figure.
I would hope to think that he's smart enough to know that I wasn't on the list, that he would know that I was a sex offender if that were the
Mhm.
case. Um, Part of me believes that maybe he just read the news article that was published after my arrest, because there was never anything published about my acquittal, but there was the article published when I was arrested. So maybe he searched my name and that's what came up. But I have no idea what he thought. I know what he knows now. I know that he
I
knows now for a fact that I was acquitted, but I don't know what he knew then.
Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I know I have some people who either were formerly in law enforcement or currently are. In your area that is your beat, so to speak, or your patrol area, you know where the sex offenders live. I would hope, right? Like I
Well, I
would
know,
hope they would look that up.
I'm sure they have a list down there. I just don't know if he's privy to all the names on it, because he's just an officer, right? So I don't
Well,
know if it's
here's
a
the
sergeant or a
no,
lieutenant that handles all that, or what.
but Shane, I'm privy to the list, so he definitely is. So
I don't know why I'm trying to defend him right here, but I
I
am
can do
for
a
some
quick
reason.
Google search and find out who's on the list. And if I was an officer of the law, I would want to know where every one of those houses are.
But
So
I'm also under the impression that he didn't even know my actual name during this incident
yeah.
because he called me everything but my name. So when he was talking on the phone with his lieutenant, when he was talking to a sergeant that was on duty, he called me everything but my name. He called me Ponytail Express, the child molester. He called me the child molester. He called me everything when he was talking to them except for my name. You know,
Well,
and
and
so I don't even know what he knew.
that one guy, which I wasn't going to get into, but one of your neighbors called you, like, I forget the name, but it was like Ron or like just something that's not your
Yeah,
name. I forget what it was.
absolutely not my name.
Yeah,
Jerry Wayne Howard. And I
Jerry.
don't know what Jerry Wayne Howard. I didn't even
Yeah,
look up Jerry Wayne Howard. He said in
yeah.
the comments months ago, Google his name and you'll see why. And I didn't even Google Jerry Wayne Howard Jr. That was it. But that's
That's
apparently who they thought I was for a while. I don't know.
that's
My
funny.
name was in one of my videos from the Emerson incident when I filed the complaint. I said my name clearly in the videos.
Yeah.
But I have a speech impediment, so maybe they didn't hear it.
We're gonna play this video. So that's how this incident started, and there's a reason why we don't have the whole thing because you weren't planning on auditing that day. It just
Uh,
happened.
he just happened to pull up.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the part that bothered me the most is that this officer ends up going into a business where, and you said you live right on this road where this happened. So these are your neighbors. These are just random. There's customers in there. And you'll see what he says. This is Shane's video of what happened on the Thursday before Good Friday.
What'd you call me?
Like I said, I don't talk to child molesters. Thank you.
You realize I was
You
acquitted
make
of
a
all
CT, I'm gonna have
charges?
you CTW. Don't do it. I'm gonna have you CTW.
I don't give a fuck going there, dude. One, it's illegal for you to go in there.
Let me know if you want me to pause it if you want to say anything. Just I can see you.
I think we
let
just
me
let
know.
it. I think we
Okay.
just let it play. Yeah.
Okay.
And solicit a trespass. I don't give a fuck.
No, it's not.
One, I was acquitted of all charges, dipshit.
You're a child molester.
I was acquitted of all charges,
You want to
dipshit.
tell everybody on your page that?
Everybody already fucking knows. I've talked about it. I've talked about it. You want to be the next famous one? You want to be the next famous one? You want to be the next famous one?
You want to tell everybody on your page that? Go ahead.
Everybody already fucking knows. I've
No,
talked
they
about
don't.
it.
No, they don't. And you're a white supremacist? Nah. I don't talk to you, man. Hey,
Actually, can you
guys, cool
pause
with
it? I'm
CTW
sorry.
this guy off your property?
Yep.
This guy right here.
Oh.
The red shirt.
I
And
wasn't
maybe you
ready.
were going to get to this. I just want to address this real quick. Maybe you can throw my camera back up just for a second.
Yeah.
I do want to address this because I don't know how many white supremacists have a Jewish Star of David tattooed on their hand. And I'm guessing this is what he thought was a white supremacist tattoo. I'm not sure, but I would be dubbed out of any white supremacist gang if I had a Jewish star tattooed on me, if I was in a white supremacist gang.
I did mean to ask you about that. So you have no idea where he came up, except for the fact that you're white.
I have Colonel Sanders. I have a cross. All my tattoos are visible.
Yeah.
So I have a black flag that was just a
Maybe.
drug addicted tattoo that I got. It was just I was
Yeah.
on drugs. But the only thing that I thought that he might think, and I have F love on my knuckles. And I have Colonel Sanders. I don't know if it was the Colonel Sanders or this. I can't get my mind wrapped around where he got this
Where he
from.
got that from.
But I didn't address it at first because I didn't hear it until he says it later. But I just wanted to address that for everybody. I am not a white supremacist. I'm also not anything else he called me, but I'm not a white supremacist either.
Honestly, Shane, I was kind of disappointed to hear that you were not a white supremacist.
Well, I hate to
I'm
let you
kidding.
down.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding, guys. I get called names like that quite frequently in my comments section. So I don't know what's up with that. I think these days in 2024, that's just something that somebody can say to somebody who's white.
I guess.
That
But he's
is
white
like,
too, so I didn't get it.
it's like I don't know. Maybe he's projecting. Maybe maybe he thinks because he is, everyone is. I don't know.
I have a feeling he's been projecting a lot in this video.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that out there.
That's fine. Just for the record, Shane is not a child molester or a white supremacist.
Both of them hurt my feelings equally, to be honest.
Yeah.
Shirt. Oh, now he's walking away. Yeah, that's fine.
He come over, he was making a scene while I was sitting in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know
That's
what I'm
the
talking
guy
about.
who was, yeah, so, yeah, he
Now he's standing on the sidewalk.
yeah.
Go ahead, 34.
What was he doing?
No, he come over. I told him, I said, don't say nothing to me. I said, you make a scene. He's got the video camera out saying also he's a child molester.
Yeah.
He got charged with child molestation.
Yeah, and got
So he
released.
sat in jail.
Radio,
Yeah.
He's the one who got off the fire.
Yeah, Emerson.
Yeah.
So I told him, now he's standing on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell, if he comes back on the property, let me know. I know y'all fixing to leave, but,
Yeah.
and I'll see TW.
716 right here.
Okay.
Clear.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'll be around.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
10-4 is Damon Golf. 10-4 is Damon Golf
Always.
Parkway, Big
Always.
Drive. Damon Golf Parkway, Big Drive.
You've been warned. You step foot on this property again, they're going to CTW you. You make a scene. Do not make a scene right now. I'm telling you right now. You're on the sidewalk.
What does CTW stand for, by the way?
Criminal trespass warning.
Criminal trespass warning. I was curious about that because I've always only heard it called a trespass or trespass warning. I've never heard it like
I've never heard CTW until this. I've heard CT, criminal trespass, but I've never heard CTW until this situation.
Okay. Just a curiosity of mine.
Don't play with me. It's called an easement. I'm not an idiot. I know what an easement is. I know how the law works, dude. Yeah. Yep.
I'm on the property. CTW me. CTW me. Yeah, you'll be the next one to get a complaint. We'll see. You'll be joining Emerson wherever the fuck he went to. You'll be joining Emerson wherever the fuck he is. Yeah, do you? Do you? Why don't you pull up the final disposition on my charges, dipshit? Why don't you pull up the final disposition on my charges, dipshit? A white supremacist? A white supremacist? Where the fuck did you get that from? Yeah, you're done. You're definitely done. You'll be the next one with a fucking complaint, and you'll be the third Commerce Police Department out of here in 6 months. Is that right? Is that right? Do you know anything about the case? Did you? Yeah, they charged me from the...
He obviously does not know anything about this case.
No, not at all.
Like it's crazy.
No reason, dipshit. That's why I don't... Is there a red dot on my house? Is there a red dot on my house, dipshit? Yeah, you're talking, dipshit. 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 You'll be joining fucking Emerson here soon. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you curse and there's a juvenile out here, I'm taking you to jail.
That's not how fucking disorderly conduct works. That's not how disorderly conduct works.
You can tell. It's okay. You can tell him. That's okay. You can tell him to slow down.
Were
You can tell him to slow down. It's okay.
Were you telling cars to slow down?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was giving them the whole slow down, the big wave.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was true or not, or if he was just making it up. But I mean, I do the same thing. If I'm driving and I see a cop hiding out, I'll flash my lights to let people know, like,
That's your freedom. No. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you curse and there's a juvenile out here, I'm taking you to jail. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's disorderly conduct. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 100%. 100%. 100%. We're all adults out here, unfortunately. Nah, no, I'm not the moron, dude. No, I'm not.
So now he's going to make a bunch of phone calls to try to find some reason to put handcuffs on you.
Yeah.
Like, it's really ridiculous. This part right here really got me. He's like, what can I do to get this guy? Which is
I say to
basically
him,
what Emerson did too.
essentially, I say to him later, you want to arrest me so bad, don't you?
Mhm.
And he says, no, I don't. And then he calls his chief or his lieutenant and asks him, when can I draw the line on this guy to arrest
Exactly.
him, immediately after that.
He was looking for any reason at all. Coming up, dipshit makes a few calls. Oh, just a little too late. By the way, for your first time editing a video, not bad. Not
Hey,
bad. Throw a little music on underneath when it goes quiet, and it'd be like a perfect video.
Just have to figure out how to do that, right?
Yeah, I don't know how to edit either. I get it. I'm actually going to practice editing with something you asked me to do, so we'll see how that turns out.
Nice.
No, I've been doing it long enough. I'm not worried about you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Leave me alone. That's nice. Yeah, okay.
7.5 radio, 23 feet.
So can I. I'll be here till 6. It's not slander. Try again. No. No.
It is.
No.
It is. And it may not have been if he was just talking to you, but the minute he went inside of that store, that is messed up.
If he
That
would have
is
said it,
slanderous.
if he would have said it just to me, it would have stayed in the parking lot. I could have filed a complaint on him, and he probably would have got reprimanded, and that's about it, for just being discourteous to the public or whatever they wanted to hit him with. He wouldn't have gotten fired, and to my knowledge, at this moment, he hasn't been fired. But I fully expect by the end of by Friday, I will know that this man has lost his job, because I don't think they're going to allow this to happen. But once you convey that to a third party, that's slander.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just like the business owner pulled him aside and whispered in his ear. It was a store full of customers. There was other workers there. It's the definition of slander.
Yes.
No. Hello? Hey, bro. Go ahead and make your way on over here just in case this guy does something stupid. He's out here making a scene.
Okay. I mean, what's he doing?
He's just standing out on the sidewalk acting a fool.
Who's he talking to?
He's yelling at me.
Oh. I mean, just... Alright, I'll come out, man.
Because for whatever reason, he doesn't think he's a child molester anymore.
Oh, okay.
So.
That's fine.
Never was, dude.
Never was.
What? He doesn't.
That's why I think that's the statement that made me think that he really thought I was convicted at some point. Like that's what made me think that he really thought. And what hurt me the most was apparently this is how I've been referred to for months in this department, because nobody calls me by a name. Nobody says Shane. Nobody says Mr. Keyros. Nobody says anything. They all, when he tells his lieutenant, Mr. Ponytail Express, the child molester, like he knew who he was talking about.
Yeah, true. That's scary. That's scary because it puts a target on your back for every other cop in that department too, and you live there.
And how many other friends have they told this to? Like, not just him, but anybody else that has referred to me. Because this sergeant that he's talking to right now, me and him are going to have the conversation at some point about this whole situation, because he's wronged in multiple things. But how many people did they tell this to before this incident happened? Like, how many times was I referred to this to just general members of the public, not just inside their department? I have no idea, but I have to imagine that there's at least a couple.
Dozens probably, I don't know how big how big the department is, but I imagine every single person who works in that building. Is there more than one police station in Commerce? Is it a large
No, there's
town?
just one station. There's one station, but there's a decent number of
Yeah.
police officers for the amount of citizens.
And all of those people have families and neighbors. Like each person that works there went home and told their significant other was at a barbecue possibly and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, I had to run in with Mr. Ponytail child molester." You know what I mean? So, and probably told anybody who they knew who had children, "Hey, keep them away from that guy because A, B, and C," which is just, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell them because they actually are going to. Give me just a second. Hang on.
Are you with your wife?
No, I'm with Megan and them.
Oh, all right. Don't worry about it then.
Ricky's on 441 with a fucked up something. Oh, y'all follow me? Okay. I didn't know which one y'all were talking about. 441 right here at Ingles.
Did he get in a wreck?
No, he's got something stuck up underneath his
Get out of here.
his car.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried about him. All right.
Yeah, somebody said
He got-
earlier in the chat about this guy just wasting time and money. That's exactly what he's doing right now, making these phone calls. He's getting paid right now to try to pin something on you. Like him sitting there radaring for speeders is not wasting time and money, in my opinion. Especially if it's a road where there's been many accidents and people have gotten hurt. Like you want people to slow down. But this part of it, he absolutely is wasting time and money, I think.
I mean, he knew that I was out there telling everybody that he's radaring to slow down the entire time. Every time he picked up his radar, I would tell the people to slow down. So his whole goal sitting there at this point is to engage with me.
Well,
he never decides to disengage and go away, go somewhere else, which would have been his best choice to begin with. But instead of doing that at first, he doesn't do it ever. He decides he's going to stay there until I leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And you can see him dig his heels in, like, oh, I shouldn't have to leave. Like, it's just, whose balls are bigger at this point,
Emerson fired because Emerson gave him a ticket for something that he didn't do. So I'm not worried about him. But all right, man. I'll see you later.
Hey, if you need me though, I'm just taking them to them, and then I'll come over there to you.
Nah, bro. You're totally fine. You're totally fine.
Because I mean, if he's disorderly.
I already told him. I already told him. I said he could stand out there and yell and scream all he wants, but once there's juveniles involved, I said I'll take him to jail for disorderly. And for whatever reason, he seems to think whatever he seems to think that he can stand out here and curse and scream and yell.
Yeah, because we live in America. You can stand outside and now we're gonna talk a little bit later about the cursing, Shane, but. You can stand out on the street corner and yell. You're allowed to do that. This is not China,
There's nobody else around. The closest house to that area is a football field away, probably. And the only other people that heard anything that I said other than him were the guys that came out and just talked to him from the pawn shop. Those were the only people. That was it.
Exactly.
So I don't know where he's getting these ideas from. He's obviously not reading the fine print of the law, so it's okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, if he keeps on cursing out there, we'll take him to jail.
I mean, you come out here, you hear him. I mean, it's every 2 or 3 words he's cursing. So, I mean, I don't care about that because he's sitting here trying to get a rise out of us. So, I just keep telling him I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to child molesters. I don't talk to white supremacists. I don't. So.
And whoever he's on the phone with is agreeing with him. Whoever he's on the phone with is agreeing. Do you know who he's speaking to here?
Sergeant Gonzo. Corporal Gonzo. I'm sorry, Corporal Gonzo. So he's higher than a sergeant.
Is he going to be named in your lawsuit?
He's definitely getting a complaint at the very least.
Yeah. Just checking. I mean, you haven't told me that there's a lawsuit yet, or anything.
I haven't told you that, but
I'm assuming
if there were to be a lawsuit, Gonzo would definitely be on the stand as a witness, no matter what.
Yeah.
Out there just in just a second.
All right, man. You're fine. Take your time.
10-4.
You're fine, man. Take your time.
If if he starts acting anyway, just like any more aggressive, just give me a call.
Okay.
All right, bye.
All right, bro. Bye. That's fine.
That's so annoying, the beeping.
Radio 725. 724, go ahead with your traffic.
Show me 23 at 1050. Damon Galls, Pedro.
10-4.
725 right here, go ahead.
We've got a pending call for 2495 Old Pentecost Road. 2495 Old Pentecost Road. It's the Jefferson Record Department. It's a dispute. There's a father that is there, causes problems. He's pissing in front of the children. The mother asks for police.
I wanted to pause it here for one reason. We just heard a call come in for a domestic dispute, and he'd rather sit there and harass you than go to a domestic dispute, which sounded like there was not only a woman there, but also
A
children
child.
in
Yeah.
danger. And he'd rather sit there. Why should he? You'll hear him say, "Why should I have to move?" Because there's a domestic dispute, buddy. And even if somebody else is answering that call, domestics are one of the most dangerous situations that
They
police
need backup.
put themselves in. They need backup. Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to point that out because all of these things, I watched this video probably 3 or 4 times by now, but that's the first time through is what I thought, like, why are you sitting there? You just got a call. That's the most dangerous situation that a police officer can be in. Why aren't you helping? Wasting time and money.
He has not been around the child in over a year. The male is arguing with the mother and the grandfather. The caller gives male alcohol on this subject.
746 right here, around that.
No. No.
25 right here, I'm clear. I'll be around.
Little music, that's all you need. It would be perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, sir. Hey, I'm really sorry to bother you at home, but
Who is he bothering at home? Who is this? The chief?
This is the Lieutenant Holly, the same one that I talked to
Okay.
about the incident.
Okay. We'll see him at the end of this video.
Yes.
and I only wanted to involve you because I know Gonzo's a little busy right now, and I really trust your input and your thoughts on this.
right.
What in the world? When in the world do I consider this guy, Mr. Ponytail Express, who's the child molester? When do I consider this disorderly conduct with him standing out on the sidewalk, cursing and screaming at me over here at ABC Pond? When do I? You know what I mean? Because I mean, he was originally out here cursing at me. I told him, I said, I am not talking to you. I said, I am not talking to a child molester. I'm not doing it. I don't want any part of it. Stay away from me. Go away. And he will not. I mean, I don't care about him standing out on the sidewalk. I really don't. It doesn't bother me. He can videotape me. I'm just running speed. It doesn't matter to me. But where do I draw
Were
the
you
line?
involved in a traffic stop, or you were just?
No, he was out on the corner and he saw me drive up and he screamed, "What's up, fuck stick?" And I'm like, I said, "Leave me alone." I said, "I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to child molesters." So
What you need to do is, if you're sitting there and he walks up, drive away.
yeah, I know. I'm just
Drive away.
and I you know, that crossed my mind. I just, at the same time, I shouldn't have to worry about where I'm sitting. You know, and again, I don't mind somebody out on the curb. He can stand there. It doesn't bother me. He can videotape me. He can wave at me. He can tell people to slow down. That doesn't bother me. It's the cursing. Where do I draw the line at the yelling and cursing? you know. And I don't want to make a scene, make a stink, because we're already involved enough with some shit. I'm not, you know, I don't want to make things worse whatsoever. So that's why I called you. I just wanted you to know that he's walking away now because he got bored. So.
Yeah. No, that's the easiest way to deal with him right there.
I mean, for whatever reason, he just yelled at me and said he's going to make a complaint. I don't know how he's going to make a complaint. I didn't do anything. I turned my body cam off for this whole thing, so y'all are going to see everything I said. So, but yeah, I told him, I warned him. I said, look, I said the people here at ABC Pawn, I said they're not going to put up with it. If you come on this property, I said, and you're cursing and yelling and screaming, I said they're going to CTW from the property. I said they're not going to play that game. And so I went in there, and he went out to the sidewalk, and I was like, look, I was like, I know how the law works, man. I was like, you're out on the sidewalk yelling, cussing, screaming, like, I want you to watch the video for me. I mean,
I will.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate it.
And now I'm talking to the chief about it too.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't be allowed to just do whatever he wants because we're scared of his video camera.
Right,
You know?
and again,
I can't hear you if you can hear me.
Thank you. I never press the right buttons in the right order. Sorry, I had to pause it again because it just makes me so angry. These police officers should not be scared of a video camera. They should have their body cams on. So why would your video camera scare them? He's like, we can't leave because we're scared of a video camera. Why would you be unless you're doing something wrong?
But what the lieutenant and me and him kind of have an understanding at this point. You know, we have I have a respect for him. I would hope that he has at least a mutual respect for me. He was misled in this phone call, and me and him talked actually off camera. You know, my wife and I went up there one day, and he wanted to. Well, I actually told him, I was like, you know, I don't remember if I went in there without the camera or I told him when I talked, because he called me, he wanted to see my entire bit of footage, and I had no problems with that because I didn't put everything that I had in here, because it was just, you could basically hear most of what I'm saying, and it was just insults for the most part. I never threatened him or anything like that, and I went up there to let him look at it, and you know, I told him, I was like, you know, just between us, y'all were all wrong. And he said, look, my conversation with him was just hearing what he had to say. He said, I thought you had just walked up to him and were just harassing him to an extent. I said, even if I was, that would, you know, I'm allowed to go out there and say whatever I want to him, as long as it's not fighting words. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'm allowed to. And he agreed with me, but he said that had he known the extent of the incident, and known how it started and exactly what happened inside the pawn shop, he said he would have handled this conversation in an entirely different way. And he had said that, you know, he's going to talk to the chief about it because I can't just be allowed to do whatever I want because they're scared of my video camera. And to an extent, if you're going to have to talk to the chief about it and talk to your officers about it and tell them exactly what you told him, if they come up to you, roll your window up, leave, go somewhere else. And when he tells him that the first time, just a minute ago, you hear him, he almost says, I tried. Then he says, I thought about that. And I think he was going to say, I tried to do that, then realized that his body cam might be running and it doesn't show him at all trying to disengage with me.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, like I think the chief, if he had the whole story then and known exactly what happened, he probably would have said things differently on this phone call.
Well, also,
I mean, the lieutenant, not the chief. I'm sorry.
I noticed that as soon as he stopped engaging with you, you stopped engaging with him. You stopped.
I didn't know he was on the phone with anybody either.
Yeah.
You know, I eventually said, enjoy the complaint, a-hole, and then walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I'm not scared whatsoever. I just want to make sure that whatever, if I were to take any action, that it's 110% going to be at the letter of the law. I do not want to go above or beyond anything. That's why I told him, I said, leave me alone. I said, I do not want to talk to you.
He didn't say,
because there's things that he's done and things that he is.
He didn't say, he didn't do any of that stuff. He did not. Yeah. He yelled back at you is what he did.
Yes.
I don't want no part of whether or not I'm a cop. Like, he's got white supremacist tattoos, you know, all those charges he got. I got kids in my life. I don't need that. I got nieces. No. Go get the fuck away from me. I don't want no part of it. So, but he left. I just wanted your word, your opinion.
724 checking in at 10-4.
Kind of gave me someone to talk to till he walked away.
For now, just ignore him. and leave, go somewhere else or whatever, and I'll talk to the chief and we'll watch the video. We'll make a plan.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he can't be allowed to just do whatever he wants to.
Okay. I mean, you guys are going to see on the video, I mean, it was continuous just cursing and yelling and, I mean, F this and F that, you bitch this, and I just didn't know where to say, hey, that's enough.
4830.
That's disorderly conduct.
And that's a hard line to draw, too.
Of course.
Because then you go into, well, who's listening? Is it just you and him? If it's just you and him, nobody else is hearing it, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because you can't be the victim in that charge, so.
Right, and you'll
That's
see
exactly correct. He said you cannot be the victim in that charge, which what he's talking about is the swear, like the what's the word I'm looking for? The
Disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct. The police officer cannot be the one making the complaint on a disorderly conduct. There has to be other people there. And in order for that to stick, it has to be somebody under the age. It's not just children. It's somebody under the age of 13, I believe. Is that right?
It's 14. But in the law specific about this in Georgia, not only do they have to be under the age of 14, but you can cuss in front of a kid that's under the age of 14, which is not, a good thing to do. But as long as you're not directing it to them, not when you start directing it to a kid under the age of 14, that becomes disorderly conduct. Or like I can go into a park with children and people all around me and I can cuss my ass off, right? Yeah. Until it becomes fighting words. Now the line is kind of vague on what becomes fighting words, but it's an immediate breach of the peace, which would elicit violence or, cause violence. And none of that ever happened.
Freedom
even though there was nobody around. Yeah.
Freedoms of speech, unlike or just like all of our rights, is not absolute. There are caveats that you cannot do. You cannot. People use the yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can if there's a fire, but if you cause a panic and people get hurt, you're liable for that. You cannot. Fighting words is basically running up in somebody's face, threatening them, that sort of thing, to where a reasonable person would want to fight. you know what I mean? But calling a guy F-stick to somebody else, not even to him, but even that, he can't be the complainant. So
and if anybody committed disorderly conduct as far as fighting words go, it was him, because that was the closest I've been to wanting to physically assault somebody since I was in jail. Like I haven't had that feeling since then, because nobody's ever said that to me, at least not to my face.
He's calling you a child molester and a white supremacist, neither of which you are. So I can understand that definitely. So let's put this back up.
On the video, I told him, I said, look, if there's juveniles around that can hear you cursing, yelling, I said, then I'm going to take you to jail for disorderly conduct. I said, because you cannot do that around little ones. I said, that's number one. And I wasn't even counting the people here at ABC Pawn who were closing up shop, listening to the whole thing, So I tread real careful, I'm not about that, gotta arrest some life. And I mean, he was saying, I hope you want to arrest me, don't you? You want to arrest me, don't you? I'm like, no. I said, I really don't.
Blackmail or whatever.
But
he's just trying to aggravate you. What I would have done is roll my windows up and not pay any big attention.
Yeah.
Or left. Because that's how you get them.
Yeah.
They want you to engage with them. If you don't engage with them, then they're not getting what they want, and they'll move on and do something else. But it sucks having to listen to them to the point that they get bored and go off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's not something that really, it doesn't anger me or upset me in any sort of way. It's just, it's like, I have respect for people. I'm not, out here just naturally treating people like shit. So to be treated like shit naturally, it just kind of sucks.
Yep.
Okay, well, I really appreciate your time, LT.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye. See you, man.
All right.
Radio unit to Jefferson Wreck. The caller's advising that she's walking toward your vehicle, so she sees some.
10-4. Where's him?
Hey.
He's still out there?
No, he walked away. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I knew you were busy, and I said fuck it, cause I want to know their standpoint on it, and I called LT. So
What did he say?
he was like, you're good. He's like, just he goes, he said next time, he said it's just better off just roll your windows up and drive away. I said, and that was I said that's the first thing. I said that's the first thing that came to my mind was to just leave. I said, but at the same time, I should not have to vacate where I'm at, where I am sitting,
just digging,
because I have
digging his heels in for the point of digging his heels in is what he's doing right now.
And I found it interesting that the corporal said, "Wow," whenever he told him what the lieutenant said. Like, why don't you agree with that, corporal? You're a supervisor. Why you should be telling him the same thing? Drive away from the situation.
Exactly.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
And he also told me, he said, look, he said he can't run around and just do whatever he wants to do. Like, he can't just run around and curse.
I feel like I need to add music in here for you.
Awkward silence.
Yeah.
Morning.
About that.
No worries. How you doing?
Knowing it was you, I'd have stopped my heart.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm all right.
So, have you had a chance to look at the body cam?
I have. It doesn't look good.
It doesn't
We're
look
doing
good.
an investigation.
So, can you tell me if he went in there and said the same thing to them? Did he go in there and call me a child molester to them?
The video looks horrible.
Okay.
And we're doing an investigation. Go ahead and actually fill out the
I got the forms. I'm going to fill those
Get
out.
them back to me. But like I said, I'm not waiting until I get the forms to start an investigation. That's already started.
Yes, sir. Here's my issue, and I want you and everybody else that sees this to know. I'm not anti-police. I'm not anti-cop. Bad policing landed me in jail for 2.5 years facing a life sentence for a crime I didn't commit. And bad policing also hid evidence of that crime until the trial. That's what got me acquitted after 15 minutes of jury deliberations. I'm not anti-police. I'm anti-bad policing. And I'm anti-guys that can't control their emotions. If you can't control your emotions, you shouldn't be out here. And they just went through training last year over the Emerson incident, and obviously it didn't stick for at least him. You know what I mean? A couple other officers, great job ignoring me. Perfect job ignoring me. That's what they're supposed to do. But, we definitely have an issue with this one. So
we're going to do the investigation, see if policy violations, whatever, occurred, and then we'll go from there.
But if he said that inside the ABC pawn shop, said that to them, that's a whole different bag of issues. That's defamation and slander. So
I understand.
I appreciate you getting me on it, and I'll go ahead and get those put out. I might turn it back in this afternoon just so you have everything at your disposal, and we'll talk about it when we talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
You have a good one.
And that's it. So just so everyone knows, I did reach out to the Commerce Police Department, and I emailed Holly, which is the one who was just speaking, who seemed like he had a level head, by the way. I emailed the chief of police, and I emailed just their general info at Commerce, Georgia, whatever the thing is. And they have not gotten back to me. It was I emailed them, I think it was a week ago. Whatever day I talked to you that day, like 4 or 5 days ago, probably. And then I emailed them again this morning, and I have not heard back from them. So I did ask them for comment. They didn't. And I understand if they don't want to comment on an active investigation, but I asked them about Emerson as well, and they just didn't respond. So I'm a journalist. Look at that. Somebody was saying that only that random people can't be journalists. Yes, they can. Anybody who is covering a news story can be a journalist. We have several journalists in the chat right now. I know them. Before we get into did you want to say anything to follow up with the video we just watched?
I mean, I'm kind of split on the whole situation. I do appreciate the lieutenant, and I haven't spoken with the chief. I actually did have a little. I saw the chief. Yeah, after this incident, he didn't, react to me. I don't know how he feels about it. And after the Emerson incident, he's the one that called me and dismissed the ticket. So we spoke before, but we haven't spoken on this incident. As far as Lieutenant Hawley goes, level head is a good way to describe him. He had watched the body cam footage, and you saw there's a whole different tune by the way he was talking to me when I came in the police department than how he was talking about me on the phone with Og. So once he at least, of course, the very beginning wasn't on camera, but the first thing he says is, I said I don't talk to child molesters. So, that just shows them that, yes, there was something that occurred before this. Whether I'm telling the truth or not, there's something that occurred before this. Whether they believe me or not doesn't matter. They know that something happened where he said this before that triggered me to pull my phone out, walk 150 yards, which I'm a big fella and I walk a good bit here lately. I've been trying to do more exercise. I didn't want to walk all the way down there because I just got done walking, but I did. And it gave me the oomph to go ahead and make it down there. And
adrenaline will do that, huh?
A little bit. But I'm there's certain things I can and can't say at this point, but I'm glad that they moved. I'm glad they moved the way they did to go ahead and investigate the situation.
And it was nice to see that they had already started the investigation. It seems like before you even filed the complaint or asked for the video and all that stuff. So.
I work Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. I called him on Monday, so I went in on Good Friday, but they were closed. And I called him on Monday, and I talked to him. He picked up the phone when he found out it was me, and he. I told him, I was like, I don't know if you've seen the body cam. I don't know if you're aware of the incident, but this is going to be bigger than the last one. So you might want to go ahead and get a handle on it now. And he said, yeah, I'll take a look at the body cam. And when he did, he put a handle on it essentially. So I can appreciate him specifically for that.
Absolutely. And we still have the discussion going on in the chat, whether citizens can be journalists. And
I can't see the chat at this point, so I don't know what they're talking about. But
I haven't read.
Why couldn't a citizen be a journalist? I have to hear this reasoning.
I haven't read all of the chats, but I just from what I see, I can't wait to go back and watch the replay and watch the whole chat. I can actually throw the chat up on the screen so you can see it from now on. But
I do want to say something about somebody that I saw here earlier, and I kind of gave him his flowers in a community post. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but Alamander. If you want to see Emerson's first video, the first video of Emerson violating somebody, you can go to Alamander. He was at the very beginning. I saw him come in. He's the reason that I decided to start flipping Commerce Police Department off after I saw the video with him and Emerson. And it was just days after that Emerson decided to pull me over. So I just wanted to say that, in front of multiple people that, hey, go watch that video on Emerson. And
I definitely will.
Alamander deserves a pat on the back of getting rid of Emerson too. It wasn't just me.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely will go back and find that name and watch his stuff. Real quick before we move on, we did get a donation while that was going on. So I'm going to do my last ad break. I like to do one at the beginning and one in the middle. So we're going to do that now. Zena's very happy to hear it, but Ron did make a small donation. So we have the little mini milk bone for Zena. Hey, Zena. She's awake, I promise. Let me do this real quick first. I'm like a professional over here. Look at me go. I'm not a professional. I like to pretend I am.
At least you have music.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Ron. I appreciate that. One more time, I want to point out that we are doing I see both Frank and Steven in the chat right now, so I want to bring this up again. Frank and Steven and I collaborated on some merchandise that's hosted at katz.com. And you can go to katz.com. That's the website. And I host Steven's merchandise there too. By the way, this mug right here, you can get, this is one of Steven's mugs. Definitely get one of those. They're the nice big coffee mugs. But if you go to this King section right here, anything in this collection of merchandise, the coffee mugs, the t-shirts, it's a collaboration between friends who truly believe this message. Christ is King. 100% of the profits from this collection go to onemorechild.org. And they provide Christ-centered services to vulnerable children and struggling families. Now, when we say vulnerable children, we mean children that have been trafficked, children whose family can't afford to feed them. They provide housing, they provide food. They're a wonderful organization. If you don't want the merchandise, please just donate to them directly. On my channel, in my channel description, I have a list of charities that I personally support. And I'm not asking you to send me money. I'm asking you to do good with what you have and what you can afford to give away. And there's plenty of good places that do great work for other humans on this planet. So just think about it. Consider it. That's all I'm asking. Consider it. So yeah, I was special thanks to Stephen Ignoramus. The Daily Ignoramus is one of his channels. The other one is Call Me Ignorant. And Frank, who was also, I saw in the chat, his channel is called Let's Be Frank. One more donation just came in. Let me pop this out so I can show it. Pop out chat. Oh, I can't do it right now, I don't think. Sorry. The way I have this set up when I have a guest on, I cannot share it. But over on Rumble, Quest Fanning did do a Rumble rant for $9.99. Did you say anything in your Rumble rant? Let's see what it says. It says for Xena. For Xena, hashtag Christ is King. Thank you very much, Quest. This is for the Xena. Let's put these over here. And why does it do that? There we go. Xena, do a high five. Thank you. She's my co-host most of the time. I do most of the heavy lifting, but she does bring in the big bucks. So I appreciate her being here. I think that's the end of the ad. Yeah, go to katiez.com, the Christ is King collection. There's t-shirts, there's different designs. We designed these ourselves. On the back, it says, every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. And that's Philippians 2, 10, and 11. And it's a pretty cool design, if you ask me. All right. So, well, I'm hearing an echo from somewhere. I don't know where that's coming from. It's distracting. But so if I oh, that's exactly what it is. It got louder when you did that. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I'll get over it. What was I going to say? Oh, so after this happened, they started an internal investigation, which is great because we can't have cops out on the beat that are doing this sort of stuff, spreading slanderous lies about people. I understand that you think he was confused. But even if he was correct, you can't be going around telling people that, right?
Let's say his accusations about me were true, just for the sake of argument. So if they were true, obviously I've done my time, I'm out of jail. If that's what he thinks, that I did my time and now I'm out of jail.
Yeah.
You're saying you're not going to protect the public at this point, no matter what. Even if he thinks I was just accused, he's saying that he's not going to. I don't talk to people that are accused of what you were accused of. You know, so therefore you don't get my services while I'm on duty.
Yeah.
And no matter, I've seen some of the debate that was going on for a while. No matter whether you call me an auditor, a frauder, you like what I do, you don't like what I do. This is going to be number 2. This is going to be the second cop in 8 months that I've helped to put out the door along with their help.
Yeah.
So you can say what you want about me or say what you want about people that do what we do, but I'm out here just taking change as it comes and trying to help it along. And I'm proud of that. So
I am proud of you as well, except for your tactics, man. We talked about this last time. I was saying earlier that if you're filming from across the street, if you catch a cop doing something bad and you're filming it, that you are a journalist. People in the chat disagree with me right now. People that are on my side, by the way, I don't have a side. I take each individual situation and judge it independently. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry, I'm not on anybody's team. But there's plenty of First Amendment auditors that do that. They don't go out looking for trouble, but when they see a police stop, News Now Enemy is in the chat. I've seen his videos doing that, where he stands off to the side and he will film. There was one in a hotel parking lot maybe a year ago or something like that, where he was just off to the side and the police approached him and he said, "I'm not doing anything. I'm out for a walk just like you were. And I saw police lights and sirens," and he stood on the sidewalk and filmed. That's a journalist. That's no different than what Fox 5 News does. That's no different than what any other journalist does. And there's no board of journalists. There's no, licensing you have to get to become a journalist. You have to record something and produce content, either written or video or whatever it is, and put it out to the public. That's a journalist. I mean, if people want to disagree with that you're welcome to. Like I said in the chat earlier, you can disagree here. It's fine. It'd be boring if you didn't.
And, like, again, with the tactics, like, I can understand people not agreeing with me flipping off Emerson, or people not agreeing with me calling him an F stick or loud enough where he could hear it. But
yeah,
if you're put in that situation, it's all about how he responds. Like, he's the one held to the higher standard. And I can understand people not agreeing with that tactic or not agreeing with how I go about it.
Yeah.
But you have to disagree with how he handles the situation than how I instigated the situation, because he's the one that held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
I didn't break the law in either one of those situations.
You're just a citizen.
It's been proven both times. So
you're not,
the way I went about it was just the way I went about it. And I'm glad it happened the way that happened on both situations, because now Emerson is blackballed from working in any nearby departments. And this is going to be the second one that probably has the same issue. So
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I disagree with your tactics. I think that using foul language is not great. Also, I think I told you on your stream the other day, or in your chat, you'd be surprised how freaked out people get when you are able to insult them using words that aren't cuss words. They don't even know how to respond to that. So, think about it, consider it, like maybe get a repertoire of insults that don't include the F-bomb.
Well, they did an IQ test on me when I was in jail. They tested my IQ because I was going to defend myself at one point for a short period of time. I was going to defend myself, and I think it was a 129 or 130, something like that. So I'm intelligent to an extent where I have, a decent vocabulary. But when the right button gets pushed, there's a lot of F-bombs and a lot of S-bombs and a lot of the vulgarity does come out. And that's, I'll say that's probably a character flaw on my end, that sometimes when my emotions get to a certain point, it's not easy to rein them back in. And that's something that I've worked on for years, but maybe I'm not in the place where I should be with it, but I also don't regret anything that has happened with this situation, especially. I would have gone back with the Emerson situation and probably said a few things differently. In this situation, once he said what he said, there was no stopping and nothing that I was going to do to curb anything that I was going to say later. So
I get it. I totally get it. Also, just when you're not in the confrontation, just think of insults. So you got them in the chamber and you're ready to go with them. And there's plenty of insults for police officers. There's plenty that will just get them right here in the heart and you can twist. You know what I mean? So you ended up going, did they call you or did you call them to do this internal affair? Like, how did that come about?
The detective from Internal Affairs called me the day after I put my complaint in to come down and do the same day I put my complaint in to come in the next day and do an interview with him.
Okay, and you went right away, obviously.
Yeah, the next morning I went, yeah.
They allowed you to record that.
Yes.
So let's take a look. I'm starting when you guys started talking instead of at the beginning, and I put the links to both of these videos we're playing in the description if you want to go back and watch the whole thing. In the beginning, it's just walking into the building and sitting down and stuff. Right now, he's got his phone in his hands because he's going to press the button to start audio recording, and that's where we're starting as well.
This would be better than body camera. At least the audio is. All right. This is Sergeant King, Detective King, with Shane Keyros in reference to IA 24-01. So, just to I don't take handwritten notes because I think it distracts from a conversation we're trying to have, right?
Yes.
So if I look at anything, it's just trying to make sure I get everything correct, right, and be accurate. So you filed a formal complaint with us. I believe it was yesterday was when you filed the formal complaint.
Yes, sir.
On an interaction between you and Officer Ogg on 328, a little after 6 o'clock. So kind of tell me about that interaction. Of course, we have body cam, so
Sure.
I can see his perspective of most of it.
Well, what's not on camera is the very beginning.
Yes, and that's what I want you to touch on. Go from your first point of contact with him all the way to when you were done, and I'll try not to interrupt.
So, my wife and I, you know, the corner of State Street and Elm Street, right in front of State Street Cycles, correct?
Yes, sir.
There's a park bench there. And then there's the stop sign. So, my wife and I, that's very close to where we live. We tend to walk around that area a lot, and we like to sit on that bench and watch traffic, talk, or whatever. And we seen him coming down in front of Slice, and he made the turn over. I forget what the name of that road is in between there. But then he come down State Street, and I guess the bench is maybe 10 to 15 feet from the stop sign. And I saw him with his window down. I knew who it was. I dealt with him on the Emerson issue. And as he approached the stop sign, I didn't even engage him. He just heard me. He lied or he misheard when he said that I screamed out, "What's up, fuckstick?" What I said was, "Hey, honey, there goes fuckstick." And he said, "That's funny coming from a child molester." And then left the stop sign and proceeded down to ABC Pond, which, you know, is what, 150 yards from that area. Immediately, I began walking. And you go back and watch his dash cam. His dash cam footage shows how far I walked all the way up there. I didn't, you know, I wasn't up there antagonizing him, you know, to begin with. I went up there, and then you see from his perspective what you have so far. I don't know if you've watched the video online yet.
I did.
Okay, you've seen some of them. I'll let you watch the entire video because
Okay.
there's stuff, you know, that I didn't put in there, not because I'm hiding anything, but because I wanted to leave his body worn camera because those calls that he made were important. But I'll let you watch the entirety of my video. Then you see me first walk up to him and ask him, "What did you say to me?" I might have said, "What the fuck did you say to me?" And he said, "I said I don't talk to child molesters." And then, you know, you see him from there. So,
but just for the sake of the record,
Sure.
kind of go through that too from what you remember.
So I walked up to his car directly onto the ABC Pond property. Not in a threatening manner. I mean, you can watch the dash cam, which I'm sure you've reviewed the dash cam footage as well. I wasn't walking up threatening. I walked up with my camera out, obviously recording him. He knows who I am. He knows what I do. And first thing I said again was, "What did you say to me?" He said, "I don't talk to child molesters." Then he immediately told me that if I make a scene on the property, he's going to have me CTW'd. And it took him, less than 5 seconds to get out of his car to go inside to solicit a trespass. At that point, I don't believe I was being disorderly. I don't think anything that I did resulted in disorderly conduct, met the statute of disorderly conduct. And I think a couple of your officers are misled on the statute of disorderly conduct from the conversations he had on the phone. But let's get back to where we were. He gets out of the car, goes inside, and while he's inside, I move to the sidewalk because I know he's going to try to CCW me. Actually, in hindsight, I wish I would have went ahead and got him to CTW me from there, so I'd had some paperwork on the issue. But when he come back out after he said what he said inside, we all seen the video. He told me, you know, "You've been warned. You step on the property, they're going to CTW." And I stepped onto the property, which was still an easement. I was just, you know, aggravating him at that point because I was pissed. And it's a CTW me. I stepped off the sidewalk onto the parking lot, and he said, "You're on the easement." And you know, I'm not stupid. Got back in his car. At that point, I began to ask him. He called me a child molester again, and then I asked him, "Do you know anything about the case?" He said that he read the entire thing, which I don't know how he has that. Then he doesn't. He read the AJC article that was posted when I was arrested. He hasn't read my final disposition. I believe he thought I was a convicted child molester, and has now found out that I was acquitted of all of my charges. Called me a child molester multiple times. While he was running radar, I was slowing traffic down, calling him a dipshit. I'm pretty sure I counted 27 or 28 dipshits in that video.
Okay. Fair enough.
Very heated. It never rose to the level of fighting words. You know, nothing like that. Never threatened them. Never antagonized them. Hey, take your body. You know, take your gear off. Let's do this. Nothing like that. Basically, told him I was innocent, that he was wrong, and told him also if he went inside there and told them I was a child molester, that was slander.
You're muted.
Oh my goodness. That's just like a Katie's Edge stream. I hit the wrong button trying to pull something up, and then hold on, I'll get it back. This is just what happens here. I want to say when I was watching this interview, everything you said, because you know I watched the body cam and I watched your video, like what you put out, and everything that you said was exactly the truth. You like in this interview, everything you said is exactly the truth.
And I'll let him watch my entire video, which I left some of the, not the stuff that I said out, because you can hear most of it on the body cam. Like I said, it was just insults. I'll let him watch all of that, because they wanted to make sure there was nothing in there that they couldn't hear that, you know, was, I guess, threatening or whatever, you know. So the department has seen my entire video from my perspective, and obviously his too. So
yeah. Good news. The reason I hit the wrong button is because I was adjusting my camera with the app that it comes with, and I think I'm in focus now. So right as we're ending, I got myself into focus. All right, let me continue this. There's just a couple of minutes left on it.
To that on the video, like I said, I know you've seen the video. And eventually, during his phone calls, I didn't know he was making phone calls at the time, so I got the body worn camera. I couldn't hear him, you know, even talking from there, unless he was talking to me louder, where I could hear, you know, threatening to take me to jail for disorderly conduct, prior restraint, right there. And I don't know if it's Gonzo.
Yeah.
So is that his supervisor? Is Gonzo a sergeant or a corporal?
He's a corporal.
He's a corporal. So he also was conspiring in prior restraint, threatening to come up there and arrest me for cussing on a public sidewalk in that video. Did you catch that part?
I heard it. I heard it. Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably going to be another complaint filed, just because I think that needs to be in his record. I think he needs to be brought up to speed on disorderly conduct.
Yeah. So I'll just go and drop this in there. I'm not going to share my matter of opinion on anything.
No,
right?
I'm not asking for it.
Yeah. So it's just kind of outside. I have opinions, right? But it's just outside the purview of this. By all means, if you want to file a formal complaint, go. You know the process. So after the phone calls, the video pretty much cuts off right after he calls Lieutenant Holly.
Sure.
Right. So I don't have. That's the part I'm also missing. What happened after that, or did anything happen?
I walked away. If you watch the dash cam video, you see I walked away probably 3-4 minutes before he tells Lieutenant Holly that I walked away.
Okay.
You know, the last thing I said to him was, "Enjoy the fucking complaint, asshole."
Okay.
And then I walked away. Again, after we're done, you know, kind of talking, I'll let you see the video.
Absolutely.
I decided that if you have Google Drive, I'll give you a copy of the video.
Okay.
So you can, you know, watch it at your leisure. But I walked away. Again, you know, while he's on the phone with Lieutenant Holly, if you're watching it from the dash cam perspective, you see me walk away. And then that was it.
Okay. And there's been no contact since with him, correct?
No.
None? Okay. So your complaint says, and this is just, I don't have a problem with him sending the video out, but it can kind of make things, I'll just read to you my concern, not a concern, but just a question, right?
Go ahead.
So in here, I then followed him to ABC Pond where he stopped to run traffic and approached him while recording. He proceeded to call me, okay, that's not one. He proceeded to go in ABC Pond to get me CTW'd, where I'm told he also conveyed to the people inside that I was a child molester. So how did you know that at the time you filed the complaint? Obviously, you've seen the video now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disclose it.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious because
the guy that owns the ABC Pond, the owner that's in the video, is friends with a good friend of mine.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I knew at this point you had wrote this, you hadn't had the video yet, right? So that was just something you were told through a source. Okay. Any previous interactions with Og other than the Emerson thing? No, none. Okay.
The only reason I had an issue with him after that was because at the time I didn't hear it. You know, he threatened to arrest me when I got out of the car on the Emerson video, and then he also, you know, said some disparaging remarks before he turned his body camera off, as you know, when he left the scene. That's the only reason I called him a fuck stick.
Okay.
The rest of the officers, you can ask them. I haven't been flipping these officers off, not since Emerson. What happened with Emerson was handled the correct way. I haven't been flipping these officers off. I haven't been going to their traffic stops. I haven't been going and sitting wherever they're sitting. He's the first one that's seen me, to be honest with you. He just happened to say the wrong thing out the window at the wrong time and got what he got.
Yeah. So I don't really, but thank God for body camera, right? Because we don't have to have this long conversation, that he said, she said thing, right? So that's kind of all I really wanted, was just to hear that, clarify some of that other stuff.
And you needed that beginning. And if you want a sworn statement from my wife, if that helps, then I'm able to get that for you.
Had body camera not existed, I would, but I don't think, and I'll confer with Chief and see what he thinks, but in my opinion, I don't think we're going to need that, just because the body camera does exist, right? Sure. And there's been no conflicting statements from what you said to what I've seen, so there's nothing that makes it go. So it's pretty kind of cut and dry matter, right? That's pretty much all I have. Do you have any questions for me that I may or may not be able to answer, just with the nature of how eyes work?
Yeah, I know what questions you're not going to answer. The only question I have as of right now is, he's still actively on duty right now.
Yes, to my knowledge, I don't think Chief's made a decision on that yet.
Well, it hasn't got to that point. I understand. Yeah. Okay. As far as that goes, I mean, I have no more questions.
Okay. Timeline wise, you know, I'm going to talk to him, and then I'll have this turned over to Chief, and then at that point, it's out of my hands. It'll be all up to them. Disciplinary issues matters. I don't have any say in that, and I shouldn't.
You're just the investigator.
I'm the inquisitor, right? I'm the inquisitor. And so that's why it's important I talk to you. I'll talk to him, and I think that's probably pretty much it. So I'll go ahead and kill this. All right. The video, I don't actually have Google Drive.
Okay.
Who doesn't have Google Drive?
It's probably going to be the only way I can get it to you.
So if I could just watch it just to clarify, I think that would be fine. So
sounds good.
And
all right.
Just real quick, I just want to say something. I typically don't respond to ignorance and people that just refuse to listen or look at the facts. But to Robert Thomas, my criminal record isn't public information, other than the underage DUI when I was 19, because I have zero criminal record. So I just wanted to put that out there. I have no criminal record. So
yeah, well, the thing is, I think what is happening here is that people are lumping you in with auditors who go about it the wrong way. Do you see what I mean? So
again, they might not agree with the way I went about it, and that's fine. But and they can lump me in, and I put myself in that position when I do this. I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that everybody understands I don't have a criminal record. So
yeah, and the they're doing the same thing to you as an auditor as racist people do to a race that's not there. They see a black person committing crime and they think all black people are criminals, or they see an Asian person driving badly and they think all Asian people drive bad. Like, whatever the thing is what they're doing, and I don't even think they realize it.
Sure.
But I am stealing this from Stephen Ignoramus, who's in the chat, but all cops are bastards, and Back the Blue, no matter who, are both just stupid, ignorant mindsets and worldviews. If you don't take each case individually, you are the one that's being dumb. So take each case individually, and at least you'll have a modicum of intelligence about what you're talking about. And I don't mean to call people dumb. I'm saying that worldview is dumb. I'm not calling any specific person who's here right now dumb. Does that make sense?
I would say with people that may not agree, somebody called this cop an upstanding cop, and we need more like him on the force. His own department doesn't agree with you about that. This cop is gone, and again, this is going to be the second cop from this department that I've got tossed off the force. Well, that they've gotten themselves tossed off the force for having an interaction with me.
Yeah.
And there are good cops on this force. The school resource officers are great. They're amazing police officers. They do great things for the community and for the school. But I knew there were some bad apples, and guess what? I found them.
And what happens when you find the bad apples is the whole community gets better, because then all you have is good cops left. And those police officers who are still left, once you get through there with your wrecking ball, they will police each other and they will say, hey, you can't do that. And they're learning from this experience because they're learning the laws and what can and can't be done and what rights citizens have. And if you don't think that it's important for us to preserve our rights, then you should probably move to Canada or something where they're not preserving the rights,
True.
So, or North Korea or whatever other country is not. United States has the most freedom, and when you allow those rights to be violated, you are ending those rights for everybody. We're no better than anybody else at that point.
Yeah.
So that's basically your story. I wanted to pull up one more thing because, like the last time I had you on, I had a secondary story that I wanted to share with you that reminded me of your story. I found one of those, and hopefully you haven't seen it already. But this is about Spartanburg, North Carolina, which is not too far from us. It's just across the border, I think, Spartanburg, like by Hartwell, up that way. I could be wrong. But the police messed up, and I saw this news story, and I hope what I'm about to show you happens in your case, because I think in your case also the police messed up. So let's put this up on the screen. There we go. And volume.
County Sheriff is apologizing to a man the sheriff says was wrongfully arrested. It appears to be a case of mistaken identity. Our Chloe Salsameda has the details.
The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office says they falsely accused a man of a drug crime. They're now working to fix that mistake.
I owe a young man a sincere apology because we made a mistake.
The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office announced last week that they were looking for more than 20 people wanted for drug crimes.
We had a warrant roundup last week.
Olin Rhodes' name was on that list.
And we'd had him charged with PWID fentanyl, which is terrible.
Sheriff Chuck Wright says Rhodes turned himself into authorities after learning he was wanted, but told deputies he was innocent. Investigators soon learned they were wrong.
This is a guy that did nothing wrong.
According to the sheriff, an informant captured the suspect in the crime on camera and believed it was Rhodes. He says Rhodes and the suspect look alike and have similar names.
We were working with an informant who emphatically said, that's him, that's him, that's him. The young officer that did this, very good investigator, just made a mistake.
Rhodes lost his job as a result of the arrest, but has since gotten it back. The sheriff says he's also working to return the money Rhodes paid to get bonded out of jail.
I'm going to do everything I can to make this right.
With Rhodes' name now cleared, the sheriff says his team will work to prevent cases of mistaken identity from happening in the future.
I really hope this never happens again, but the chances are that this may happen again, but I'm going to do our best. I'm going to do our very best not to let this happen again.
In Spartanburg County, Chloe Salsameda, 7 News.
So what do you think of that story?
Deputies are still
I mean, it sounds like a horrible position to be put in because possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, like one, they're not playing with fentanyl anywhere. And two, that can not only ruin your reputation, but just having that charge on your record is similar to mine. Just having those charges, even if you're acquitted or they dismiss them, just having that can follow you around anywhere you go. But
as your charge did to you just recently, right?
Yes. But I have to shout out to that police department and shout out to the sheriff's department for doing the right thing, going on the news and actually saying we made a mistake. I would hope that they would do that in my situation, but if they don't, just getting rid of the officer and somebody. I'll be at the city council meeting this coming Monday, but if I don't hear an apology, then somebody should at some point come to me and say we're sorry for what happened. At least that would probably curb a lot of anything that would happen in the future. But we'll see.
I saw that. Well, first of all, it just goes to show I'm not just here bashing on cops, because this police department did a great job. They realized they messed up. Not only did he get on TV and apologize, but he made sure to call this man's employer and say, hey, it was us, it wasn't him. So he got his job back. And he had to post bail to bail out of jail, and he's trying to get that money back for him as well. And I think that if that were to happen every time the police messed up, there'd be way less lawsuits, way less tax dollars spent on paying out people who were wronged, like you and like this guy. Because if you feel like you're not being listened to, it's really easy to call up a lawyer and say, make them pay. I'm pissed, make them pay. But especially, I mean, not the first accusations that happened to you, that was a way bigger deal, but for what happened to you recently, I don't know, I haven't, talked to you about this, but if it were me and I saw the police chief get on TV and make that and make all of the efforts that he was doing, I would be less likely to sue the department, personally, you know?
Words can go a long way.
Mhm.
For me especially,
Yeah.
they can go a long way to make me feel one way or the other about you. In this instance, Ogg's words went a different way.
Yeah.
If somebody were to give me an apology, even if it's just me and them,
Yeah.
somebody with some boot to give me an apology, then that would go a long way. But
Exactly.
yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, there'll be updates coming as soon as I know things, but I don't know. We'll see.
And if any of you are still in the chat who think that Shane was the one that was in the wrong and this cop did nothing wrong, I want you to know that it's not just me who feels the way I do, that I mean, like I said, your tactics, we discussed it. But it's not just me. The local Atlanta news has reached out to you to cover this because you were wronged. It's not, there's outside people, and don't get me wrong, I don't like the mainstream media. One of the reasons I started my channel is because of the reporting in the mainstream media. It's because I saw news stories being reported, especially crime, like, murder cases, rape cases, stuff like that being reported. And then once I dug into the documents, what the what the media is telling you is not what happened at all. So that's one of the reasons I started my channel. So I'm not on mainstream media side. Woohoo. I'm not a cheerleader for them. But just the fact that the general public agrees with you should say something to the people who are here who still think, oh, dirty frauditor, there's nothing you can say or do that would be correct just because you filmed the police. Like, that's just not the case. And it's definitely not the case with what happened to you Easter weekend,
Yeah, and I'll always have those detractors. And I've said this to somebody else. You're free to say almost anything you want to, and
Yeah.
it's your God-given right to feel any way you want to about somebody.
Yes.
And look, if you want to feel that way about me, then that's okay. We can agree to disagree, and sometimes we can agree on things. I can agree that I've made mistakes with certain things that I've said at certain times in my life.
Yeah.
In this instance, I don't regret anything. If I caught him an F stick, you should have just kept driving. That's his
Absolutely.
job, is to just keep driving, not to yell something horribly unsubstantiated out the window and then go into a business and tell multiple other people without them even trying to pull it out of them. Just, hey, he is this. This is what he is.
Yeah.
That's
Factual. Like,
Yeah.
he is a child rapist. He spent time in jail for it. So, and he didn't say, oh, he was convicted. He spent time in jail for it. But what he was trying to do there is turn people against you. And that's not right, no matter what the case is.
No.
Real quick, we had a couple of more donations come in, so we're going to give Xena a couple more treats before we get skedaddling. Do you see her tail wagging? Hey, Xena. Xena, I got a treat for you. Yes. I appreciate everyone being here, by the way. I see lots of new faces. I hope you come back. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button right down there. I live stream true crime stuff and other crime stuff every Sunday at 4:30. Coming up this Friday, I'm actually having a live stream. We do a called Friday Night Crime. Hopefully you'll be in the chat. My best friend since high school, Karen number 2 is her name, and she does once a month. We do a live stream together where we go over like little crime stories, not the big in-depth cases. Just like local news. Usually a lot of fun. We try to find levity in things, even horrible crimes. We try to find something to laugh or joke or smile about, because if you don't, you'll cry. So here's here's a treat from Quest Fanning and one from Erica. Erica and Quest, thank you. Bam, bam. Coming up Sunday at 4:30, we started on the Daniel Holtzclaw case this past Sunday, but it's such a huge in-depth case. We're going to finish it up this coming up Sunday at 4:30 as well. So we'll see you Friday, 7:30, Friday Night Crime. Sunday, 4:30. Those are the Saturday we're doing a game show. If you're not busy Saturday night, you should come play games with us. We do a game. It's like we just finished the Stupid Criminals game, and
I was actually I saw you doing that the other night with the camera, like you're looking at an area trying to figure out where it was. Yeah, I was at work. Like I said, I work Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, but I was actually able to jump in there on my break and check that out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll send you, if you're not busy Saturday night, I'd love you to join us on screen and be, it's basically a true or false game that we play, and I can't remember the name of it off. It's like Stupid Deaths or something like that. It's kind of like this person died doing this dumb thing, and then you just have to guess if it's true or false. We add up the points, and for that game, it's anybody who's a member or anybody who's a friend of the show, which I consider you a friend of the show.
Thank you.
Can come up on panel and play. Everybody in the chat can play along, and we do kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. If we're just don't have any idea, we poll the chat. So it's a lot of fun all the way around. I think that's it. Did you have any closing? Well, subscribe to Shane's channel, by the way. It's linked in the description.
Go to North Georgia Audit for sure, and leave me a hate comment, leave me a love comment. Just don't leave anything at all. Just hit the subscribe button or watch it. I'm there.
Leave a comment. Like any kind of engagement is good engagement. So even if Robert and Jamie over there in the chat, go leave him some hate comments. Hit the thumbs down button. That's fine too.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you back here Saturday. I just sprung that on you, so I don't know if he's going to be here or not.
We'll talk about it later this week. How about that?
Yeah, I know you have a long day at work Saturday, but afterwards we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll check it out.
Yeah, let me get the right clip in front of me before I click the wrong button again. Thank you very much for coming. We will see you all Friday night. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
I can't understand what you're saying. We're late stage in the catacombs. Shuffling a single card today. Broken table trying to play some ping pong. It's not subtle when we celebrate a magazine with the pages torn. My body cracks, knees buckling. I got a bad case of brain fog. Said I got a bad case of brain fog. So I'ma take my butt